We have to get into the controversy of the day, and that, of course, is really kind of taking away from what was an incredible women's tournament. However, it could all end up being a good thing, because what are the two main ingredients that, or maybe three ingredients that any sport really needs to make something memorable?
Gambling, one.
Oh,
sorry, to make something memorable. Okay. Oh, okay.
Okay, so four.
Not profitable. I don't memorable. Yeah, go ahead.
So you need stars.
Definitely.
You need rivalries, and you need controversy. And now the women's game really has all three. And listen, these are not like earth-shattering controversies. Basically, how much trash talk do you like in your sports?
Yeah.
How much is palatable to you? Where do you think the line is? And do you think that Angel Reese from LSU crossed it yesterday when she, taunted Caitlin Clark, gave her back the John Cena, you can't see me, the pro wrestler, gave her the move that Caitlin Clark has done to other teams, and was pointing to the ring finger saying, I got the ring. So where was the line?
Yeah.
That's the controversy we got last night, Perloff.
Well, the big difference, and I agree with people who think it was different. Angel Reese sought out Caitlin Clark after the game and went and did it right in her face.
Yeah.
Caitlin Clark had been just sort of doing it to
Well, you say right in her face. For people who didn't see, she wasn't like up in her face like nose to nose. This wasn't like a weigh-in at a boxing match.
She wasn't doing it to the crowd, though. She was specifically ran over Caitlin Clark and did it within 4 feet of her and was addressing it at her.
It was hard to see from TV exactly how close they were, but it was definitely to her. But
yeah, but she said it was to her.
It wasn't in her personal space, though. Let's get that clear. It wasn't within an arm's length. Or more.
I think you saying that is a little disingenuous, though, because it was an instigator. She wanted Caitlin Clark to see her do it right in her face.
Definitely.
That was in her. I think in her face is close enough. You're right. I see what you're saying.
I want to paint the picture here for people who didn't see it, because when I hear in your face, I think of like a manager and an umpire going nose to nose.
Weaver style?
Yeah,
okay.
Like screaming at each other. That's not what this was.
Okay, but the distinction, Caitlin Clark, the last time she did it in the semifinal game was to no one in particular, as I recall. So I think there was a slight difference. This was directed toward one person, which is funny because that's the NFL rule. If you taunt, they call it taunting if it looks like your celebration is directed at a person. This definitely would have gotten a flag in the NFL because it was taunting, which is, by the way, which is okay. So I understand both arguments here. One, I think what Angel Reese did was different, but I definitely think what Caitlin Clark had been doing all tournament long, she cannot complain about trash talking, but she is a good trash talker, and it's part of her game. So to call it an outrage that you would trash talk against her seems disingenuous to me.
Totally. So Caitlin Clark has an attitude, plays with an attitude.
Trash talks. And
is cutthroat, and so does Angel Reese.
Definitely.
And so the fact that this has boiled over to the point where Angel Reese is being called classless, being called an idiot. I mean, that is ridiculous. That language is way too strong. And coming down on her with a, shame on you, that is complete BS. Because, we don't hold our athletes in the field of play. I don't think we hold them to the standard of like, you're in a business meeting. Mm-hmm. We understand that trash talk happens. We love when trash talk happens. We love Michael Jordan's shrug. We love Reggie Miller's choke. We love these things. Steph Curry, night, pretending that he's gone to sleep. Those kinds of things, and that's on the pro game, by the way, and I don't even think these college kids should even be held to that standard. But we love that kind of stuff. And it feels like now all of a sudden it's coming from the women's side and it's creating this big controversy. And I don't love where that is.
I see what you're saying, and I totally agree.
Yeah.
It should be the same standard. I don't love all that stuff, by the way. I don't.
Yeah, I know.
My favorite two celebrators of all time are Barry Sanders and Calvin Johnson.
Yep, you've always said that.
Who get in the end zone and they'd be like, you know what, I've been here 1,000 times. You can't stop me. My play is going to speak. Now, it makes me sound like I'm 100 years old when I do that. The bat flips are cool because I always wonder if someone's going to get hit in the head. But I hate over-celebrating. And I'll give you an example. Sure. In the NFL, when a team is down 35-7 and a guy gets a first down and does the arrow sign, you have to admit sometimes
it looks silly.
And I watch youth sports and their celebrations they're just comical.
Yeah.
A kid will hit a 16-foot jumper, an 8-year-old kid, and do the sleeper motion. And it's funny and it's cool, but I generally think I'm more of an act like you've been there before, but it's the style of. I think Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese use it for competitive juices. I think they kind of are using it. They're not just pulling it out of nowhere to look cool. I think they get themselves fired up, and that I can appreciate.
Absolutely, and I don't think that this was something that was so beyond the pale. No. Was it a little bit extra? Yes, it definitely was a little bit extra.
That's exactly right. It definitely was a little extra. We can agree on that.
Of course it was. But was it so beyond the pale that now all of a sudden she should be receiving a backlash for it? See, that's what I don't understand. You might be able to say, I wouldn't do it. Or Perloff, I'm more of a Barry Sanders person. Just drop the football in the end zone or hand it to the official like you've been here before 100 times. It might not be your cup of tea. But to have the backlash and the reaction to it is ridiculous. And that's where it almost feels like more, right? Because the wave, the tidal wave, it doesn't fit. Like when we get upset with pros who take it too far, we criticize pros who take it too far, like a Draymond Green or Patrick Beverly or these guys who are like these classic instigator guys. It's because we're coming with all the baggage of their career where we've watched them do this for years and years. And also I think are just kind of, I would say over it with those guys, or sometimes it feels like it's fake. I don't know.
Yeah, right. That's their role to play. But also we kind of do rip them though.
We definitely do.
So, but Angel Reese is not Draymond Green or Dennis Rodman or Dylan Brooks. Yeah. She's not an instigator. She's a star. She's LeBron.
Right.
So I don't think it's one thing when Draymond does something like that.
Oh, because he's a role player? I don't know. It's getting a little nitpicky.
I think people are. One of the reasons I think they're going after Angel Reese, and you're right, it's complicated, is she's the star. You know, she's the most outstanding player of the Final Four. She should be maybe a little above that in the crowning moment. Maybe a little above that.
Definitely
so she should be celebrating. And also, too, I do think that. Do you think that it's possible she was resentful of all the attention Caitlin Clark had gotten?
I don't know about the attention, but she did say, we actually have some sound of this. So Angel Reese did say, let's listen to cut 3, Stu, about why she did what she did. So this is the post-game press conference, and she does make it sound like it was her actions were intentional.
The narrative, I don't fit the narrative. I don't fit in the box that y'all want me to be in. I'm too hood. I'm too ghetto. Y'all told me that all year. But when other people do it, y'all don't say nothing. So this was for the girls that look like me, that's going to speak up on what they believe in. It's unapologetically you. And that's what I did it for tonight. This was for it was bigger than me tonight. It was bigger than me. Twitter is going to go in a rage every time. And, I mean, I'm happy. I feel like I've helped grow women's basketball this year. I'm super happy and excited.
Okay, so she says she knew this was bigger than her. And she didn't like the insinuation that when like Caitlin Clark will, do the you can't see me, the John Cena, or taunt someone else, no one says anything, right? But if it's something that she does, then she gets backlash for it.
Well, okay, that's true. But a lot of people are coming into this with, most people did not know most sports fans did not know Angel Reese was getting a hard time for celebrating. Like,
I did not know that. Her nickname is the Bayou Barbie, so I didn't know that she was getting backlash for being.
Said all year she's been getting backlash. I think
I didn't know that.
A lot of people are okay. Yeah. So that one is a little different. I'm not sure, but you can see she's bringing a lot of different things to this. So it's definitely. I mean, listen, she's introducing it. Yeah. It's become about race. It's become about gender. It's very complicated. I understand her feelings. It's funny. There's a screen in the background on the studio that's just showing it over and over again. Let me ask you a question. Is this definitely good for college basketball in the sense that this is what everyone's talking about and not the incredible performances by both teams? I'm wondering, where does this go for us?
Okay, so I will always say that, yes, I think this is. Because I do think while the controversy has raised to the forefront for people like us in the business that we do in sports talk radio, but I do think there was very much an appreciation of the women's game and the women's tournament over the last few weeks. I think that, again, you had all the ingredients here. It was perfect. You got a rivalry now. I mean, LSU and Iowa have to meet next year. We need a round 2 somehow, some way. You have stars. Like, Angel Reese is a star. Caitlin Clark is a star. They're both coming back. Kim Mulkey, who, again, is controversial in her own right with some of her stances on things. She is a star in the game. Now she has the third most championships by a coach in the history of the women's game, only behind Gino Auriemma and Pat Summitt. So you have these big figures, big people, big personalities. Now you've got a controversy. Rivalries help everything and everybody. I mean, Bird and Magic was a rivalry that grew the NBA. It was Jordan versus everybody, you know?
But these teams might not even play again.
I know. They need to meet.
In fact, it's much more likely that they'll never play again. Yeah. Kim Mulkey's been here forever, and all these things have been here forever. Here's what I worry about a little bit.
Yeah.
The star power of Caitlin Clark after next year will go away. And now Angel Reese is elevated into that star. She'll go away, but I think after next year. She had a redshirt freshman year.
She's a sophomore.
Yeah, but I think she's Caitlin Clark's age. She broke her foot her freshman year. This happened in the men's game. They had a little bit of a spike with Zion. Zion games got huge ratings. Then it just completely went away when Zion left. So I wonder, will
they get a sustained?
Yes, because there have been a lot of huge stars in women's college basketball, and something about Caitlin Clark was different. I maintain, and I think it's a lot of things. I think it's their style of play and this sort of Cinderella thing. Iowa had they've been to a Final Four since 1993. They've 1/3 the talent of South Carolina, and as it turns out, 1/3 the talent of LSU. They had this sort of Cinderella. They shouldn't have been there. They're basically one player takes every shot. That's not normally a formula. Steph Curry at Davidson had a little bit of this.
Right.
Imagine if Steph Curry had made it all the way to the final.
Yeah, it would be at a fever pitch like it was.
Right. So I don't know. Part of me wonders, yes, I do think there will be some stickiness, but I think there was the way this worked out for college basketball will probably be a bit unique. So I don't think they're going to get whatever. Well, it was a record rating.
Yeah.
Right? I don't think they're going to get that maybe next year. But I wonder if once Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark go away, will the next generation be able to keep that up? What do you think?
We're in the chat right now on youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. And our pal Nick in Texas, who we got to meet in Houston with his two amazing sons, was awesome, says in the chat, I don't mind the gestures. It's the fact that she followed her around to make sure she saw it, in my mind, is what made it different.
Yeah.
There was a different element to it.
Yeah.
Again, in my opinion, doesn't rise to the threshold of the tsunami of backlash that she appears to be getting.
I agree with that. Yeah, and the funny thing is Caitlin Clark did not see it. She was. She said afterwards, and you could see it on her face. She had just lost a national title game. She was trying to find the handshake line, so she was looking around like, "What's going on here?" She said she didn't see it. I don't know if that's true.
I'd say that too if I were her.
I don't.
I'd
honestly,
say that too.
I watch her. She really looked totally confused out of it. She just lost a national title. I don't think she even cared.
And imagine what's going through your mind at that point. RPC in the chat says Perloff wants everyone to quote unquote stay classy in a cutthroat sport.
Yeah, I'm not a huge celebrator. I mean, listen, does LeBron celebrate big time? Is he a famous celebrator? Is Michael Jordan a famous celebrator? Maybe. Jordan did a little bit.
Yeah, I mean,
but these
shrugging
guys, after
the threes.
That wasn't even a celebration. Him and Cliff Robinson was laughing. He shrugged too. They both shrugged. They were like, "Whoa, I've never seen you do that before." I don't know, like the greats of all time. My favorite celebrations are. And I do this once in a while when I hit a walk-off three-pointer. It's happened probably 6 times in my pickup life.
Yeah.
Just pretend, that's normal. I just walk off and start talking about something else. Don't even look back.
Look at you, cool customer.
Larry Bird hitting the game-winning 3, then walking off with the 1 in his hand. Just like, oh, yeah, this is business as usual. Yeah, I'm a Barry
Perloff,
Sanders.
the Lamont Butler of the Saturday morning Brooklyn pickup run.
Let me make it clear. There wasn't a clock or refs or anything going on at these games. This was pickup with friends.
The buzzer could have been beaten.
Yeah. I don't think, but then again, listen, this is also me being old. I think the younger players, college players, are much more emotional and enthusiastic, and it's great. That's part of the passion, right?
Yeah.
So, but let's say LeBron goes on a run now and wins a title. He's not going to do any of this.
Steph Curry does the night. He calls himself the petty king. Steph and LeBron, same. They're basically CEOs of their own. LeBron's more famous, but Steph Curry is just as much of a darling.
Millions of people have problems with Steph.
Yeah.
Billions of people have Steph I have a friend who complains so much about Steph with the mouth guard. They think
the mouth guard's disgusting.
They think he's just the worst. So, but you're right. Steph is a petty king. Does LeBron celebrate? I can't even think of a LeBron celebration. He probably does. He does this. Obviously, the talcum powder in the beginning, which is awesome. But I don't know if you're a GOAT, you don't need to do that.